New to Main podcast.
This is not an actual Facebook post, but a compilation of assorted statements I've read in various Viking-related Facebook group posts, just to make it accessible in one big bite. Skull, my brothers. I'm a true Danish Viking. My DNA results reveal that I am direct bloodline related to Lagatha and belong to the Wolf clan in Denmark. Hail to our ancestors and the Viking code. As I said, this is a compilation of statements and mistakes, so the number of errors is obviously pretty mind-blowing. It also reveals that the person writing this must be American, or in rare cases Australian, but definitely not Danish. Trust me when I say that I have read each statement more than once by people who took themselves very seriously. Let me start with skull. It's pronounced and spelled skål, S-K-O-L. O is the letter A with a circle on top. It means cheers, but only in relation to drinking, so it's never used as a greeting. Before you can say skål, you must be sitting with the person you are saying it to, making sure the person's glass isn't empty. Saying skål to someone who has nothing to drink is considered thoughtless. Brothers? Nope. If we don't share at least one parent, we are not brothers. This phrase reveals that you have never set foot in Denmark. On to the next statement. I'm Danish. Well, if you haven't lived in Denmark since early childhood, you're not Danish. You might be of Danish descent, so say that. I am of Danish descent. But it doesn't make you Danish. You might call me a gatekeeper, but trust me, if you go to Denmark and claim to be Danish without speaking the language natively and without recollections about the Danish folkeskole, people will laugh at you. You will simply turn an entire country into gatekeepers. Moving on. I'm a Viking. No, there are no Vikings. Originally it meant from the bay and later became a word used for raids or raiders. The word was very rarely used during the historic Viking Age, but inflated afterwards to talk about people in the past. It's like the phrase ancient Egyptians, not a title used by anyone alive, past or present. The next piece of statement, bloodline. In Denmark, we do not give a shit about your bloodline or DNA. Any Korean infant adopted by parents in Denmark who grew up here and speak the language and played in our playgrounds is more Danish than you will ever be. Blood or DNA doesn't contain nationality, and if my grandfather was from Texas, it doesn't make me Texan in any way, shape or form. Next. Lagatha is a figment of Saxo Grammaticus' imagination, in 3 lines of text in all. The rest is the creation of Michael What's-his-name, who wrote the screenplay for Netflix Vikings. You can't be related to a person who doesn't exist. If you claim to be related to Harald Hardrade or any other person who might have lived, we would still shake our heads and laugh at you. Everyone in Northern Europe is related, but it's impossible to say exactly how. We don't care, and we're not impressed. Next, Wolf Clan. Clans is a Scottish thing and never named after animals. We never had clans in Denmark. We had villages and later on petty kingdoms and in the end a proper kingdom. In between there has been some very loose alliances, but never clans. Lastly, hail to the ancestors and the Viking code. Well, since World War II we haven't used the word hail, or hil as it is, since it's a little too close to something we'd like to move away from. Yes, our ancestors used the terms, but it's frowned upon now. We live in 2024, not in 824. And get this. We don't give a shit about ancestors. We don't pay homage to people who died 1,000 years ago. 3 or 4 people in history have had real impact on history, and we know their names, but we don't hail them. There's Harald Bluetooth or Harald Blåtand, and his mother, Tyr Danebod, created Denmark. There's Margrethe Valdemarsdatter, who created the Scandinavian Union, and there's Valdemar Sejr, who invented the concept of the national flag. And we ridicule them just as often as we praise them, if not more. Remember, we are a nation that takes pride in disrespect, and they are long gone. We have no incentive to romanticize them. Ending on a high note, there is no such thing as a Viking code. I have read a few editions online and none of them makes any sense. Respect the elders or respect family? Come on. The number of sons who have killed their fathers in history is mind-boggling. Show strength or be proud? Are you kidding me? Viking warriors would run away from every battle they weren't sure they would win. They would use any dirty trick in the book, and the best label to describe their success in war would be cunning cowards. If you are an American or Australian who feels like romanticizing something, you can begin with your own nation. A nation of settlers who has driven a huge success by thinking outside the box. And leave the Vikings to people who actually grew up next to an Iron Age grave mound and used it to slide down on a winter's day, showing complete lack of respect to our ancestors. If you doubt any of this, by all means come to Denmark, walk into any pub and make just one of these claims, and people will either laugh at you or simply roll their eyes. You might find me arrogant pointing all this out, but think about it. How would you react if I claimed to be from your home turf and I had nothing to show for it besides statements that proved me wrong?